Hey everybody, it's Ricky Heller here from rickyheller.com. I help people on restricted diets to learn to stick with it so they can eat, cook, and enjoy delicious food without feeling deprived, and so that they can just get on with living their best lives. Well, today I want to start with a question for you. Do you eat organic food? And if not, why not? I know I've had discussions with people a lot about whether there's any difference, and people are asking me all the time, is it really necessary to eat organic? And so today I wanted to share a little bit of my perspective, particularly as somebody who's been on an anti-candida diet for so long. So for those of you who aren't clear on organic, basically organic food just means that the food was grown without the use of chemical pesticides or fertilizers. And if we're talking about animal products, they're raised eating food that isn't grown with chemical pesticides or fertilizers. Plus, animal products, they would not be given growth hormones and they would not be given antibiotics or other kinds of drugs. So that, to many people, is enough of a reason. Just thinking in terms of the logic, you're not ingesting those chemicals. But it turns out studies have shown that that's true as well. So if you search the internet, there are loads of articles about organic versus non-conventional, non-organic. But I want to talk about some of the reasons that I felt were most compelling to me and why I have decided to eat as much organic as I can. So the first one is studies have actually shown, there was a recent study in the British Journal of Nutrition that found that the levels of toxins, so chemicals, pesticides, are actually much lower, or should I say much higher, in conventional food, lower in organic food, and almost non-existent in organic foods. So that means if you're eating organic, you're not ingesting those chemicals and those pesticides. And along those lines, people who ate primarily organic food had lower levels of cadmium, which is a heavy metal that can cause all kinds of problems in the body and can displace some of the minerals your body really needs, like calcium and zinc. And I know for me, when I was first tested for heavy metals, when I was first diagnosed with candida, my cadmium levels were through the roof. And eventually we determined, because my naturopath asked me, like, did you grow up on a farm? That's pretty common for people who live near pesticides or breathe in or handle pesticides a lot. But we decided in the end that probably, and we're not entirely sure, but most likely my high cadmium levels came from my repeated, basically daily use of Raid bug spray in my basement apartment where I lived for 7 years, because there were so many bugs and spiders and things, and I was constantly spraying. And even though I ran outside and tried to breathe fresh air right after it, clearly some of those chemicals were absorbed through my skin into my lungs. Of course, if only I knew then what I know now, right? But in any case, I went through a lot of detox, and it took me a long time to clear that cadmium. So you do not want to have higher levels of these chemicals, pesticides, cadmium, other heavy metals, if you can avoid it. And organic food ensures that you're not going to be getting those higher levels. The other thing is, at the same time that they contain lower levels of pesticides, organic foods contain higher levels of antioxidants. And these are the plant compounds that help to reduce free radicals in the body, help to alleviate chronic conditions or prevent certain cancers. And so you're kind of working on a double whammy that way if you eat organic, because you have fewer of the chemicals and heavy metals that are going to disrupt your health, and more of the antioxidants that are going to help prevent those health issues. So you're hitting it from both sides if you're eating organic. So to me, that's a huge plus in favor of organic. I also, in the similar study by the Journal of Nutrition, they found that people who eat organic just in general have better overall health. You know, that makes sense, because if you're conscious of eating organic, you're probably conscious of other health issues or what you can eat or not eat to be more healthy. But that was one of the results of the study. So that's really good to know too, that in general, organic food correlates with overall better health. In terms of candida, I thought it was more important to look a little more deeply into some of these connections. So one of the main pesticides that's used, and you may have heard of, is Roundup, which contains a chemical called glyphosate. And one of the earlier studies in, not that early, like 2013, one of the studies in glyphosate and this is in a journal called Interdisciplinary Toxicology, and I will link to all of these references below. But they found that fish that they fed glyphosates ended up with a condition that was almost identical to human celiac disease. So it had a similar effect on the digestive tract in fish as we would have as humans with celiac disease. So that's just a pretty scary connection there to begin with. And yes, fish are not humans and we don't have identical digestive tracts. I understand that. But the fact that it disrupted their digestion to that degree tells me if I'm ingesting that same chemical, it has to have some effect on me. And it's going to be an effect I don't like. The other thing is another study by the USDA's Agricultural Research Service. There was a microbiologist there who did a study on plants and glyphosate. He found that the glyphosate increased the number of fungal infections in the plants, and their roots were no longer able to fight off fungal infections in particular plants. And again, if the glyphosate disrupts the bacterial and microorganism balance in the plants, that then favors the growth of fungi, again, it makes me wonder, as someone with candida, how is that going to influence my microbiome, the balance of all the microbiology in my gut? Because candida is such an opportunist. As soon as the levels of good bacteria decrease, candida swoops in and it will proliferate given even the tiniest opportunity. So I do not want to create an environment in my gut that favors the growth of fungi, favors the growth of candida. So again, if you're eating conventional produce, and especially the kind of high plant diet that I eat or that I know many of you eat, you want to really be careful because you do not want to create an environment that can be conducive to candida growing out of control. So for me, that really was another reason why I felt it's important to consume organic. So those are three, I think, really important reasons: the increase in chemicals, the decrease in antibiotics, and the increase in fungal infections if you eat conventional produce. But the other benefit of organic that I feel I really need to mention, because if you're a food lover like I am, is it just tastes so much better. If you've ever had an organic strawberry, holy moly, like that is what strawberries are supposed to taste like. You know, and my husband's always telling me that the organic steak is so much better than the conventional steak that he eats. Even when he orders in a high-end restaurant, it still tastes better organic. So the rule in our house, because I do the grocery shopping and I buy all the meat and eggs and cheese and chicken or whatever for my husband, is if it's an animal product, it must be 100% organic. And I know that's more expensive. And what I have found happens then is we just eat less of it, right? My husband doesn't eat meat every night anymore. And I feel that that's actually the proper balance gets restored. So if you find that buying organic animal products is, let's say, twice the price of what you paid before, that means you're going to eat half as much to keep the price the same. That's probably the level you should be eating, because those of us in North America who eat animal products, many people get like 100 grams of protein a day, which is way too much. So most of us eat too much protein according to all the studies I've read. And so that will help to reduce that for people who eat animal protein. When it comes to plants, so like my food is, I eat fruits and vegetables, not that many fruits, but mostly vegetables, nuts and seeds, beans and legumes, coconut. I can't think of anything else at the moment. All my different plant foods. I do determine which ones are going to be organic. I try to buy as much as I can. I'd say we manage probably between 85 and 90% organic in our house. But if I can't buy organic, what I do is make use of the Environmental Working Group's 2 lists. So you can go check their website, and I will put a link for you. But the Environmental Working Group, each year, they come up with 2 lists. One they call the Clean 15. And this is the list of the 15 top fruits and vegetables that are the cleanest, that have the least pesticides in their conventional form. So we're not even talking organic. We're talking with conventional produce, which contains the least pesticide residues. So for the Clean 15, you know you're getting the least pesticide. They also have a list called the Dirty Dozen, which I think is now bumped up to 13, but that doesn't sound as good. So the Dirty Dozen, And those are the ones that have the most pesticide residues on them. So if I'm going grocery shopping and I have my little list with me, I know that if I want one of the fruits or vegetables that's on the dirty dozen list, then it must be organic because I do not want that much pesticide residue on my food. If I'm looking at something from the Clean 15, then, I will go with something that's not organic. I'll make sure to wash it or peel it if it's like a cucumber or something, but I still will feel better consuming those conventional products because I know that their pesticide residue is so much lower. So I hope that helps, and I hope that gives you some encouragement to try to increase your organic consumption because your health will thank you, your gut will thank you, your taste buds will thank you. If you found this information useful, I do hope you give it a thumbs up, or even better, share it with someone you know who's dealing with gut issues or candida and could learn about organic produce and how it might be beneficial for the way that they eat and what they're going through in terms of their health. All right, everyone, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.